Welcome to the Avaya ACE Web Services Trainer video guide, Part 3, Monitoring Call Status and Events. This part of the video guide uses the Avaya ACE Web Services Trainer to demonstrate how client applications can request information about the status of active calls and their participants, and subscribe to receive automated notifications whenever call or participant events occur at selected endpoint addresses. There are a number of reasons why a client application might need to monitor the status of calls and their participants. For example, a client can be notified of calls that it didn't initiate but which it might want to control using the third-party call extension's web service. A client can monitor changes to call or participant status to trigger the next call control operation in a sequence. For example, a client would need to know that a call is connected before playing an audio message to its participants. A client can save details of calls to a database for analysis, or it can display information about currently active calls on a dashboard. Client applications can get information about the status of calls and their participants by a number of methods. The client can request a snapshot of the status of a selected active call and its participants. The client can subscribe to receive automated notifications whenever the status of a selected active call or its participants changes, or the client can subscribe to receive automated notification of selected call events at selected endpoint addresses. So, for example, the client can request to be notified whenever a call is initiated at or made to a selected endpoint address. It can also subscribe to be notified of in-call events, such as when a call is answered, the called endpoint is busy, there's no answer at the called endpoint is not reachable, or when a call is disconnected. I'll use the trainer to demonstrate how each of these methods is supported. One way that a client application can get information about the current status of an active call and its participants is for it to submit a call information request. Both versions of the third-party call control web service support this operation, although the information returned is slightly different. Version 3's Get Call Session Information operation, which I'll demonstrate in a moment, returns detailed information about the status of the individual participants in the call. Version 2's Get Call Information operation returns information about the status of the call as a whole. I'll start by using the trainer to make a two-party call from extension 20081 to 20082. As expected, the calling party device rings first. When I click Get Call Session Info, the trainer sends a request to the web service which returns call participant status information. The trainer parses the response and displays the information in the call participants control. Notice that at this point there is only one participant involved in the call, the calling party at extension 20081, whose current status is Call Participant Initial. When the calling party picks up, the called party device starts ringing. When I click Get Call Session Info again, you can see that the calling party status has changed to Call Participant Connected, and the called party status shows as Call Participant Initial. When the called party picks up, the call is established. Clicking Get Call Session Info once more shows that the status of both participants is now Call Participant Connected. Finally, when one of the participants hangs up, I can click Get Call Session Info one last time to see that the status of both parties is now Call Participant Terminated. Note that participant status information is only available for about 30 seconds after a call ends. For terminated calls, Get Call Session Information requests additionally return the duration in seconds that each participant was in the call and the reason they left it. In this case, it was Call Participant Hang-up for both. If we now look at the SOAP requests and responses that were exchanged between the trainer and Avaya ACE, you'll see that each request was submitted to the Get Call Session Information operation on the third-party call control version 3 web service, passing in the selected call session ID as the sole parameter. The response comprises status information about each participant in the call, including call participant identifier, status, start time, and when the current status is terminated, the call participant duration and termination cause. Next, I'm going to use the trainer to demonstrate a couple of ways in which a client can subscribe to receive automated notifications whenever the status of the participants in an active call changes. But before I do that, I need to check that the trainer is configured correctly. When the trainer launches, it creates several listeners on its host machine that enable it to receive call event and presence notifications from the Avaya ACE web services. If there's only one LAN adapter on the host machine, the trainer automatically uses its IP address to start the listeners. However, if, as in this video guide, the trainer is accessing Avaya ACE in the DevConnect remote lab via a VPN tunnel, the host machine will have at least 2 active LAN adapters. To identify the correct LAN adapter, run an ipconfig command and make a note of the VPN remote virtual adapter IP address, which for the remote lab will begin 10. In this case, it's 10.10.101.15. Then back at the trainer, select Setup Event Listener and transcribe this IP address into the listener IP address field. Click Save and restart the trainer to apply the configuration changes. As mentioned earlier, there are 2 ways in which a client application can subscribe to receive automated notifications whenever there is a change of status for a selective active call or its participants. It can use the call notification web service to subscribe to an existing active call, or it can use either of the third-party call control web services to subscribe whilst initiating a call itself. First, I'll use the trainer to demonstrate the call notification web service method. Notice that I already have an active call that I initiated using the third-party call control web service version 3. The call currently comprises 2 connected participants, but it could be in any state as long as it is active. I select the call notification tab and then participant as the sole call event criteria. Notice that the other call event criteria are automatically deselected and that the call session ID field is displayed. Copy the call session ID from the active call sessions control and paste it into the call session ID field. Finally, I click Start Call Notification. Looking at the SOAP messages, you can see that the trainer sent a Start Call Notification request, passing in the selected call ID in the addresses parameter and participant in the criteria parameter. It also passed in a reference, which comprises the endpoint location where the client wants Avaya ACE to send the notifications, the name of the interface that implements the call notification listeners, and a correlator that uniquely identifies this subscription. The endpoint value is automatically populated by the trainer based on the LAN adapter IP address configured previously and its default listening port. The interface is the value configured in the interface name field at the Avaya ACE settings dialog. The correlator is taken from the value in the correlator field on the call notification tab. This value must be unique for every subscription, so remember to always click Generate Correlator to generate a new value before starting each subscription call notification. Avaya ACE returned an empty Start Call Notification response, indicating that the request was successful. The trainer will now automatically receive a notification message from Avaya ACE whenever there is a change of status to the participants in the call. To check this, I will manually end the call. In the SOAP messages control, you can see that the trainer received a Notify Participant event message. The message includes the correlator that identifies the subscription that this notification relates to, the ID of the call, and participant status information similar to that we saw earlier when using the Get Call Information operation. To tidy things up, I'll end this subscription by ensuring its correlator value is displayed in the correlator field and clicking Stop Call Notification. The trainer sends a Stop Call Notification request, passing in the selected correlator. A more straightforward way for a client to be notified whenever there are changes to the status of a call or its participants is to subscribe while initiating the call itself. Both versions of the third-party call control web service enable clients to do this, although version 3 notifies participant events and version 2 call events. I'll demonstrate using version 3 to initiate a call from extension 20081 to 20082, as demonstrated in part 2 of the video guide, except that this time I'll tick the Events checkbox before clicking Make Call Session. Looking at the Make Call Session SOAP request sent to the web service, you can see that, in addition to the calling and called party endpoint addresses, the request includes a fully populated reference parameter. This is similar to the reference parameter we saw previously when using the call notification web service. It contains the endpoint location and interface where the trainer started the event listeners when it was launched, and a unique correlator automatically generated by the trainer. You can also see that the trainer immediately receives a notify participant event message indicating that 20081's status is call participant initial. When 20081 picks up, the trainer receives another notify participant event showing the status of 20081 is now call participant connected and of 20082 is call participant initial. Further notify participant events are received as the call progresses through being fully established to termination. To complete this part of the video guide, I'm going to use the trainer to demonstrate how client applications can subscribe to receive notification of selected call events at selected endpoint addresses using the call notification web service. To begin, I open the call notification tab and select the types of call events the trainer wants to be notified of. In this case, I'll select all of the event types except participant. Next, I enter the endpoint extension and select the TEL URI format. Notice that I can only select TEL or ACE. This is because the call notification web service is not supported by the Avaya Aura SIP service provider. In the address field, I can specify whether the trainer wants to be notified of events relating to calls made to or from this endpoint address. I'll select Called to get call events for incoming calls. Finally, I must remember to generate a new correlator and then start call notification. In the SOAP messages control, you can see that the trainer sent a start call notification request, passing in the parameters just entered under the call notification tab. It receives an empty start call notification response indicating that the request was successful. To check that the trainer is receiving the call event notifications, I'll use the third-party call control web service version 2 to initiate a call from extension 81 to 82 and then answer the call at extension 82. In the SOAP messages control, you can see that, as expected, the trainer has received two incoming event messages. Firstly, a called number call event when the call alerted at extension 82, and then an answer call event when the call was connected. That ends this demonstration of how client applications can monitor call status and events. Next, watch part 4 of the video guide, which uses the trainer to demonstrate how Avaya ACE Web Services clients can control active calls using the third-party call control and third-party call extensions web services.